My question is to ask the Minister for Children and Youth Affairs the progress made in tackling childhood poverty and whether she believes this progress is on track to reach the 2020 targets as outlined in the National Policy Framework for Children and Young People, and if she will make a statement on the matter.
Thank you, Deputy. I have a strong personal commitment to reducing child poverty, and it's also a key priority for the government. And when we set ourselves a target in 2014 of reducing consistent poverty in children by 2/3 of the 2011 level, it was a challenging ambition. It would have meant lifting 70,000 children out of poverty by 2020. In fact, this baseline target against 2011 means that today we need to lift 102,000 children out of consistent poverty by 2020. Consistent poverty means that these children are living in households with incomes below 60% of the national average income who experience deprivation according to official government poverty indicators. We've made some modest progress from a peak of 152,000 children in consistent poverty in 2014. We have seen a 9% decrease in 2015 of 13,680 children living in poverty. This downward trend continued with 11.1% rate of consistent poverty in 2016, a further reduction of 6,320 or 4.5%, with a total of 132,000 children now being deemed to be in consistent poverty. And figures for 2017 will be available in November. However, it will be extremely difficult to reach our ambitious target by lifting over 100,000 children out of poverty by 2020. My department works closely with the Department of Employment Affairs and Social Protection, which has the lead role in coordinating strategies on poverty, as well as the National Action Plan for Social Inclusion. And with the support of the Advisory Council on Better Outcomes and Brighter Futures, which worked with NGOs and a range of government departments, we have a valuable paper on a whole-of-government approach tackling child poverty, which was published last October. And it identified 6 priority areas for action: providing universal access to GP care for under 18s, reducing the cost of education, housing, affordable childcare, labour activation, and provision of in-work benefits. And my focus has been, as you can appreciate, has been particularly on the affordable childcare.
Deputy Mitchell, 1 minute.
Minister, the Better Outcomes, Brighter Future policy document set at lifting 70,000 children out of poverty. And of course, the key to reducing childhood poverty is delivering effective services and supports. Despite the economic situation, we've seen a report for Barnardo's recently which showed that a number of families and children are now seeking support from the charity. Barnardo's estimate that 138,000 children across this state are living in poverty, and that's something I find very, very upsetting. To imagine that 138,000 are living in consistent poverty is absolutely shameful, and clearly the work that is being done isn't enough. So, Minister, can I ask you that the discussions that you're having with your Cabinet colleagues about this, and if you can elaborate on your vision of how we can address this?
Deputy. You know, I think in order to have a comprehensive and sustainable impact on child poverty, future strategies must, in conjunction with cash transfers, also focus on improving service provision. So that's a lot of what my vision is. And doing so can have a meaningful impact on reducing the cost of living for families with children. So let me give you some examples from my own ministry in terms of how we're trying to do that. Our radical new approach to childcare is benefiting families in poverty and those at risk of falling into poverty. Let me just give you 2 examples of a family A, for example. First family, parents with 3 children with a household income of €35,000 and the children are 1, 3, and 5 years old. Supports provided by our new measures are a universal subsidy of $1,040 for the 1-year-old, $2,451 for the 2-year-old through the free preschool, and a further $2,451 for the 5-year-old following the decision to extend the scheme to cover 2 program years. So each year, the value of those supports is €5,942, and that's a significant benefit. It reduces the cost of living, and it enables and provides that family with more opportunity in terms of moving beyond poverty.
Final supplementary.
Thank you. Minister, I welcome the fact of the things you're saying, but we cannot ignore the elephant in the room, that we have 138,000 children in this state living in poverty. We have also 4,000 homeless children. We all know that a better start a child has in life, they have better prospects. So, Minister, I think in the upcoming budget, we seriously need to have a focus on children. We need to see a budget that is child-proof, that will break this cycle of poverty. We need to see that supports, which you talk about, are in place and that they're working to prevent more children joining this list of children in poverty. So, Minister, I'm confident that you are a voice going into these discussions, but sometimes I wonder, is your colleagues on the same page as yourself?
Deputy, as I've already indicated, I think in terms of the way in which we designed and are implementing our ambition of an affordable childcare scheme is rooted in a fundamental principle of reducing children's poverty and the impact of poverty in children's household. That underlies the objectives of affordable, accessible, and quality. And already in terms of the investment that we're doing, again, it's not just how much money, but where does the money go? And when we're talking about children who are in poverty or consistent poverty, we're talking about, I suppose those children who are in families where an individual earns 60% of the median income, and 60% of the median income is €12,227. So yes, this is tough. But let me give you another example of already what I brought forward in terms of our initiatives. Lone parents with 2 children, a lone parent with 2 children, they're in receipt of various payments, one parent family payment, that comes from other colleagues who hold a medical card. They have, for the 2-year-old, they receive a subsidy of €145 per week. They have a 6-year-old, they can avail of the after-school payment of up to €80 per week. In essence, this family, lone parent family with 2 children, aged 2 and 6, receive €12,320 in subsidies to support their childcare costs. That's what's going on right now. That impacts and reduces children's poverty right now in the country.